second session. The first topic is about the Land Transportation Code. What is this LTO code? This is a one-book code wherein all traffic rules and regulations in the country are inside this code. So it is a must for every one of you to secure a copy of this book. Since this is a one-book code, it might take us around 3 months to finish this if we discuss everything. So tonight, we are going to take up only the most important and interesting part. Under Chapter 1, titled, that means the Land Transportation Code. Under Chapter 2, Scope, meaning what are the functions of the LTO, why it was established. Sometimes, whenever you take government exam, this question is being asked. What are the functions of the LTO? One is registration. So if you want to register your motor vehicle, go to the LTO. The next one is licensing. If you want to secure a driver's license from a student permit, non-professional, professional driver's license, up to conductor's license. That is the job of the LTO. The next one is franchising. Let's say you want to enter a taxi business, a bus business, or a jeepney business. To do that, you have to secure a franchise. So that's the job of the LTO, franchising. And lastly, law enforcement. So these are the 4 functions of the LTO: registration, licensing, franchising, and law enforcement. That is why the full name of the LTO is really Land Transportation, Franchising, and Regulatory Board. In short, they just call it LTO. Under Chapter 3, definition of terms. In any kind of code, whether you are dealing with insurance code, labor code, or LTO code, there are many words to be defined, so that in case of problem, you can always look at the definition. The first term is motor vehicle. How do you define a motor vehicle? Kailan mo sinasabi mo sasakyan motor vehicle? Why is so important to know that? Because if the vehicle you are presently driving is a motor vehicle, then you are required by law to bring it to the LTO and have it registered. You will be given a car registration, official receipt of payment, and you must be a licensed person to drive that vehicle, and you will be also given a plate number if it is a motor vehicle. However, if it is not a motor vehicle, you can use it anytime without registration, without a plate number, without a driver's license. That is why it's important to know the definition. Like for instance, can you consider a tricycle motor vehicle? A bulldozer, a tractors, cranes, lawn mowers, are these considered motor vehicle? If you take it literally, motor, may makina. Vehicle, sasakyan, may makina. A bulldozer, it is a motor. You can drive a bulldozer. You can drive with it. Is that a motor vehicle? If so, then lahat ng bulldozer, i-re-registro yan. Lahat ng tractors, i-re-registro yan. So to know that, you should know the definition of motor vehicle. According to the LTO, any vehicle propelled by any power other than muscular power using the public highway. That is the definition. Any vehicle propelled by any power other than muscular power using the public highway. A tricycle, if powered by bicycle, like what you see every corner in Manila, we call that pedicab. Bisikleta, may sidecar, namamasada siya, pick up passengers, collect fares. 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 15-year-old. The government cannot even control them. Anybody can just buy a bicycle, put a sidecar, mamamasada siya. Because that is not a motor vehicle. It is powered by muscular power. Now, if it is powered by on the motorcycle, then that is a motor vehicle. You have to register it. You must be a licensed person to drive that motorized tricycle. How about these tractors, cranes, bulldozers, lawn mowers? Although they have machine and you can drive them and you can ride with them, they are not considered motor vehicle. Why? Because if you look at the definition, using the public highway, you don't see bulldozers being driven along the highway. Although sometimes they are being used to make the highway, and yet they are not the end users. So these are exceptions. That is the meaning of motor vehicle. Next, parking. How do you define parking? Kailan mo sinasabing nakapark ang kotse? The moment you drive your car, every day that you drive your vehicle, you look both sides of the road. And you can see a lot of signboards. No loading, no unloading. No left turn, no right turn, no U-turn. Do not enter. No stopping. No parking. You are driving your car. And then you are dying for a smoke. But you have no cigarette. You look for a cigarette vendor. There is one at the corner. You stop the car in front of the vendor. You shut off the engine. You get down from the car. You buy cigarette. After buying the cigarette, while lighting up the cigarette, when you are now about to enter your car, here comes the policeman. Siyensya mo. Bakit ito? Ano violation ko? Di ba nakita isa na yan, no parking? But sir, I did not park. What are you doing there? I just stopped to buy cigarette. If the sign is no stopping, you can charge me. But the sign is no parking. I did not park. I just stopped to buy cigarette. So what's the difference now between no stopping and no parking? Suppose you stop the car the whole day. Hindi ako nakapark dyan. Naka-stop lang ako dyan maghapon. Yan. So unless you know the definition, you cannot even argue with the policeman. And you will be receiving a ticket for no parking violation, but legally, you are not violating any rule. So to avoid the problem, as a driver, you should know the definition of parking. According to the LTO, when you put your vehicle to a stop at a shoulder of the road, unattended for a long period of time, that is parking. You put your vehicle to a you put your vehicle to a stop at the shoulder of the road, unattended for a long period of time. But the question now is, for how long? Is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour? It is not specified in the code, the number of minutes, to determine whether it's no stopping and no parking. So there is a loophole. So in practice, the moment the policeman says no parking, no parking. You cannot argue with the policeman. Why? He has a gun. If you argue, he will just shoot you. So in your case, you are just a new learner driver, driving your car every day, and you are still afraid to commit this violation. How can you avoid this no parking violation? Well, you should know where to park your car. You know, sometimes as a new driver, whenever you want to park your car, you just look for signs. The moment there is no sign of no parking, you feel it's okay for you to park. But remember, there are many places where there is no sign of no parking, and yet parking is not allowed. And you should know all these places. And you cannot use the argument, but there is no sign of no parking here. Ignorance of the law does not excuse anyone. So where are these places? Like for instance, you are a devotee of the Black Nursery in Quiapo. 7 o'clock every Sunday morning, you want to attend the first Mass. So from Makati, you drive your car all the way to Quiapo. When you reach the church, it is 10 to 7. You want to park your car in front of the church, there is no space available. You drove along Carriedo area, and still you cannot park. And you become desperate. You are not willing to wait for the 8 o'clock Mass. You notice, Quezon Bridge is available. You look on top of Quezon Bridge. There is no sign of no parking. Can you park your car on top of Quezon Bridge? But there is no sign of no parking there. So that is why you cannot park your car on top of any bridge, going up or going down the bridge. Do not park your car within a corner. Sa mga kanto, bawal mag-park. If ever you park your car within a corner, be sure it should be 4 meters away from both sides of the corner. If you park your car within that 4-meter limit and somebody bump your car, it is presumed under the law you are the one at fault because you are parked illegally. Do not park your car in front of fire hydrant. You know this fire hydrant? That's where we get water in case of fire. If ever you are forced to do it, be sure you should be 6 meters away from both sides of the fire hydrant. If you park your car within that 6-meter limit and there's a fire along that place, here comes the firemen. They destroyed your car just to get water out of that fire hydrant. You cannot even sue the fire department for the destruction of your private property because you are not supposed to park the vehicle in front of this fire hydrant. In front of jetters, parking is not allowed. In front of bus stop, jeepney stop, waiting shed, bawal yan. You cannot park your car within the gate of a hospital, within the gate of the fire department, within the gate of a police department. Along curb roads, basta palikuing kalsada, parking is not allowed. On top of a pedestrian lane, may pedestrian lane yan. Pinarada mo yung kotse mo doon. Tumatawid yung mga tao, akit muna sa bubungan mo. You cannot do that. Yan. You cannot park your car blocking the stop sign at the corner. So the moment you see that stop sign and you park your car, nobody can see it. You are parked illegally. Do not block driveways. Even if there is no sign of keep driveway open, it is just common sense. Do not block that driveway. You cannot park your car along main thoroughfares. Where are these main thoroughfares? EDSA. May nakikita kayo nakapark sa EDSA. Ross Boulevard, may nakikita kayo nakapark dyan. Sa Top Avenue, Quezon Avenue, Espanya, mga main roads, bawal magpark. Sa bangketa, pwede. But along the main thoroughfare, parking is not allowed. And of course, whenever you see that sign of no parking, where can you park your car now? Hanapin mo yung mga hindi mo pa nasasabi. Pag hinanap mo lahat yan, you cannot park. Because if it's not a corner, it's a fire hydrant, it's a bus stop, a jeepney stop, waiting shed, a pedestrian lane. If you are really a law-abiding citizen, no way that you can park in any place in Metro Manila area. And yet the government did not put up places for parking. Not like the Ayala Corporation, Robinson Galleria, SM Megaball, they put up multi-stories parking for fees. So in your case, you are just a new driver. You are trying to fetch your sister, your girlfriend, or your boyfriend along the Makati commercial area. And everywhere you go, parking is not allowed. But she has to see you. So what you do? You stop the car in front of the building. You wait for a few minutes. You keep the engine running. If after a few minutes she snatches around, you drive around the block. You stop again in front of the building. Wait for a few minutes. If she's not around, you keep on driving around the block until she arrives. That is the only way. In 1960s, 1970s, we don't even, hindi man natin pinapansin ang no parking at that time. Why? Because under the old law, the penalty for no parking at that time was only 10 pesos. Kaya hindi pinapansin niya. And there was no traffic in Metro Manila in 1960s, 1970s. Policemen are not strict about parking at that time. Even if you are parked illegally, policemen cannot touch your car. Because under the old law, policeman cannot issue ticket for no parking violation unless the driver is around. He has to confiscate your license for no parking before he can issue the ticket. Before the ticket, we call it TPR. Traffic violation receipt. After several years, they changed that to TOP, Temporary Operators Permit. Now they are issuing TCT, Traffic Citation Ticket. Different names, but same banana, is still a ticket. Before they cannot issue the ticket unless the driver is around. He has to confiscate your license before he can issue the ticket. Since you are not around, the policeman cannot touch your car. So, anong gagawin niya? He has to wait for the driver. Iintay nga niya dumating. Tatayo siya sa tapat ng kotse mo. Here comes the driver now. About to approach your car. You notice someone is waiting for you. He issued you the form. Naturally, you will not approach your car. Tingin na tayo. Yeah, tingnan natin kung sino mapapag sa ating dalawa. It's now 12 o'clock in the afternoon. He's still around. Because the money that you will give him, that is his lunchtime money. Of course, you will not give him that privilege. When you, pag nagugutom na siya, he will be forced to leave the car. When he's not around anymore, you went downward, you will try to approach your car slowly, you raise the vehicle. Taguan ang taguan ng araw. But now you cannot do this anymore. At the Makati commercial area alone, the penalty for no parking here is 500 pesos. Can you imagine that? Parking lang 500. Now, if the driver is not around, under the new law, the policeman is not required by law to wait for the driver. He will just automatically issue the ticket based on your plate number. Okay. Ticket, date, driver not around, violation, no parking, under Republic Act so-and-so, a place of violation, Makati commercial area, type of vehicle, Toyota Corolla, plate number like this, sign, Patrol Mandera Cruz. And he will just attach the ticket on your windshield wiper. However, before leaving your car, he will remove one plate number. So, the whole now is the plate number. So when you get inside your car, no one is waiting for you. As if nothing happened. You get inside the car, no problem. You start, okay. Shift to first gear, okay. When you are now about to move forward, you notice there is a small piece of paper flying in front of you. Now, do not think that's a Jollibee advertisement. 100% that is a citation ticket for no parking violation. And you get down from the car, you look around, only then you realize one of the plates is missing. So how can you drive the car without the plate number? So, you will be forced to go to the MMDA within 72 hours to pay the penalty for no parking before you can claim back your plate number. Because unless you claim your plate number, you cannot drive that vehicle. If you drive that without plate number, another policeman will see that driving your car without the plate number. Every corner, inuhuli ka without the plate number. So, mas peligroso yun. You are lucky they just remove the plate number. What is worse, nowadays they don't even remove the plate number. They will just tow. Your car itotowing ka nila. At marami nang nakatatak dyan. Imagine dumating ka, wala yung kotse mo. Oh, nakatatak. They will not even notify you. Yeah. Now, if your car is towed to the impounding area, 500 pesos parking violation. They will charge you 1,200 pesos for towing service. Yung pag-tow nila, babayaran mo yun. Now, within the day, if you don't pay the penalty for no parking and the towing service fee, they will charge you 250 pesos a day for storage fee. So that is how expensive nowadays to commit this violation. So if you are in the Makati commercial area, please, even if you pay 30 pesos for 3 hours, 50 pesos for 3 hours sa mga basement parking na yan, pay 30 pesos. Even for 1 hour, pay 30 pesos. It is cheaper and safer with that than to expose your car outside, exposed to vandalism, carnapping, theft, much more towing services. When they tow your car, remember, you are not dealing with policemen. You are dealing with a private towing service. You cannot even argue with them. Kung minsan natutulog ka sa kotse mo, hinintay mo misis mo, tinutuwa ka. Nandun ka sa loob, bakit tumatakbo yung kotse? Tinutuwa ka. Under the law, they are not supposed to tow your car if the driver is around. But they will not do that. Itatagi nila yan. Puro mga sanggano yan, these are not law enforcers, these are private corporations. And for every vehicle they tow, they are given a commission for that. So that is the meaning of that. Next, highway. How do you define a highway? Kailan mo sinasabing highway ang kalsada? If you take it literally, high, mataas. Way, daan. Mataas na daan. Sabi ng iba, pag wala akong traffic, highway. Ano bang highway natin dito na walang traffic? EDSA, which used to be Highway 54. There is always traffic congestion along that place. Sabi ng iba, pag mahaba ho ang kalsada, highway. Lahat naman ng kalsada ay mahaba. Now, imagine Top Avenue. Is Top Avenue a highway? Or what? Highway bang avenue? Is Top Avenue? Highway ba yun? O ano yun? Avenue. Quezon Boulevard, is that a highway? No, that's a boulevard. Crowley Street, oh, that's a street. Pasay Road, oh, that's a road. South Super Highway, oh, highway yan. Sa tulong na lang South Super Highway. How come you consider South Super Highway a highway? Top Avenue is not a highway, it's only an avenue. And yet if you compare the two, they are practically the same. So to us, when you think about highways, you only think about the South Super Highway, North Diversion Road, Highway 54, like this. No. As far as the LTO is concerned, they have a broad definitions about highways. And their definition goes like this. All public roads, streets, alleys, thoroughfares, even a small street, as long as it is owned by the government, that is a public highway. It might be called an avenue, a boulevard, a small street, or a road. As long as it's owned by the government, that is a public highway. If that is true, then all roads all over the Philippines are considered public highways. Not necessarily true. The roads in Forbes Park, the roads in Dasmariñas Village, all the roads in Makati Commercial Area, in San Lorenzo Village, what are these roads? Private roads. Since they are not considered public highways, they are considered private roads. The security and maintenance of this road is not in the hands of the government. Pag nasira ang kalsada sa Forbes Park, do not expect Makati government to repair them because it is against the law to use public funds for private purposes. You have to put up, put up an association. We call it Homeowners Association. And you elect board of directors to lay down the rules and then collect fees. We call them Homeowners Association dues. Per square meter yan. Per square meter. To pay the security, garbage collection, common spaces, road maintenance. Now, if no one is willing to pay their dues and the amount received is not enough to pay all these expenses, well, you can pass a board resolution transferring all the roads of the subdivision to the city government. If accepted, they will become public highways. Everybody can enter the subdivision. Tricycle, magpupote, magpabakal, magbigaryo, pati magpapalimos, pwede nang pumasok sa subdivision. But as far as there is still private properties, you can control everybody inside the subdivision. So that is the meaning of highway. Next, driver. How do you define a driver? Kailan mo sinasabing driver ang isang tao? Ayan, taxi driver yan kamo. Dahil nakita mo nagdadrive ng taxi. Ayan, truck driver yan. Ayan, tricycle driver yan. Like in your case, you just learned how to drive a small car, a Corolla maybe. Suppose I ask you to drive a Victory Liner ba? You cannot. Are you a driver? I ask you to drive a motorcycle. You cannot. Are you a driver? Yeah. Suppose you are going to Baguio inside a Victory Liner bus as a passenger. Unfortunately, upon reaching Pangasinan, the bus driver suffered a minor heart problem. So the bus is stalled right at the middle of the highway, blocking the flow of traffic, delaying everybody. Because the driver cannot drive anymore. Any one of you here among the passengers who can drive this bus so we can bring our driver to the hospital? You raise your hand. I can drive a Corona. But you cannot drive that big bus. Are you a driver? Suppose in case of an emergency, nobody can do it, and you are the only one available there. Do you think you can manage to drive that bus, considering you have no previous experience in bus driving? Sabi ng iba, hindi ko kaya yan. Bakit naman? Dahil mabigat siya. Ba, hindi mo naman kinakarga yan. Dinadrive mo lang naman yan. Yan. Of course you can. As long as you know the differences between these two. So, I will teach you how to drive a bus. If you remember last meeting, I discussed with you in detail the differences between driving a manual transmission against automatic car. Because the trend now, majority of women drivers, they are now planning to buy automatic vehicle. Knowing the traffic situation in Metro Manila is really tiring. To be driving manual transmission. So the same thing is true in bus driving. What are the differences between these two? Okay. How do you drive a small car? How do you shift the gear? Let's say you are on the first gear. You wanted to go to the second gear. How do you do it? Clutch down, no gas, second. Release clutch, gas. Okay? You are now on the second gear. You want to go to the third gear. How? Clutch down, no gas, third gear. Release clutch, gas. We discussed the start meaning, fundamentals of driving. Driving a big bus, especially the old one, that's not the way you shift the gear. How? Let's say you are in the first gear. You want to go to the second gear. How do you do it? Clutch down from first gear, neutral muna. Release clutch, clutch down from neutral to second. From second to third, clutch down from second, neutral first. Release clutch, clutch down from neutral to third. You have to press the clutch twice before you can shift from one gear to another. We call it double clutching. Driving an ordinary car, you only press the clutch up, clutch down, segundo na kagad yan eh. Clutch down, tertia na kagad yan eh sa kotse. Sa mga buses, no. You have to press the clutch twice. So, clutch down from first gear, neutral muna. Release clutch, clutch down from neutral to second. Yan. Double clutching sila. Is that really true? Okay, when you go, you take the bus. You sit beside the driver and observe whether he's really pressing the clutch twice or once. Of course, you will not notice that because the driver will not emphasize it like the clutch down.